Hi, I'm Engineer Hoist, and today we'll be taking a look at the power of the Primes Divebomb. Welcome back to Predaking Week. We are on day 2, which means we're taking a look at Divebomb. If this is your first time here, consider hitting that subscribe button and that bell icon to get notified when I upload the rest of these Predaking videos or any other video on this channel. And we will be also having all of these reviews in a playlist with a link in the description. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at Divebomb. So here he is. Now you will notice that I don't have any of the stickers applied to him because I do have Ripper labels on the way, which are going to really make this guy pop. Now, most of the stickers that came with the set are going to be for the wings to give them that gold appearance, and also gives a little Decepticon symbol for his chest and maybe a couple of others, but the Reaper labels are far more extensive. That's why I went ahead and jumped in on them. But Divebomb is an eagle, as you can tell. Sort of. I mean, it doesn't really have the coloring of an eagle, but he does have the eagle, but maybe he looks a little bit more like a crow with all the black head and everything like that. You can go caw caw, but then it kind of has visible head syndrome. So yeah, but so he can't really talk without having his face show up, but that's fine. But yeah, he does have a pretty impressive wingspan. If you get the wings all the way out, he could barely fit on the camera. I've got to push him all the way back to the brand new display area there. And the wings can also, of course, collapse fully into there while he's completely out of focus there. Yeah, so there he is. Not a whole lot of articulation there. You can obviously do this, and I suppose his feet can split apart too. They're meant to tab together, but I suppose you can have them separate. I mean, birds do have separate feet and all that. And the wings can, you know, flap. Just kind of got to be careful you don't pull them completely apart while you're doing so. That's pretty much, oh, there is a couple of other things. He does come with a couple of guns. Well, I mean, it's the whole set, but these two guns are for Divebomb. And he's got a couple of ports just on either side here, so they kind of plug right here. Normally, I think you'd probably expect them to plug in on the wings or whatever, but not for this guy. He likes to plug them onto the sides. And when you get him all leveled out and he's flying around, makes it much easier to aim because it's right in line with his head instead of way up on his wings. I guess that's what we're going to go with anyway. So there's that. We'll get these off. Yeah, so the legs don't really tab together too well in this mode, and that you do fit the hand in there, which we'll see in a little bit, and it does make that far more secure. And now let's go ahead and bring in the G1 reissue that I've got of Divebomb. So you can see I do have the stickers on this guy, and that is what the Power of the Primes Divebomb would look more like with the gold on there. But you can see definitely the similarities here. He's got the gold / yellow chest there. He's got a Decepticon symbol here on his chest, and there clearly is a spot for it here on the Power of the Primes, which I'm completely blocking for you. It's got kind of a red waist. It's got the red and orange colors are a little bit off, but it's close enough for purposes. Yeah, the heads are pretty similar. They're black with got the gold eye, golden eye. Isn't that a James Bond thing, not a Predacon thing? Okay, we'll forget about that. And then if we spin them around, you can see the similarities continue. You've got the gold in the center here. You got the yellow, which is taking the place of gold here. He's got more of a defined tail on the G1, where this is kind of more of the combiner part, but it does have a little bit of detailing, which makes it sort of kind of act like a tail. And just like in G1, where the wings can come off for Predaking, that's going to be the same thing for our Power of the Primes Divebomb. And let's go ahead and get to that as part of the transformation. Now, we can't really go and take those off yet because if you look real close here, the arms are kind of locked in here. So what we want to do is, I suppose you can actually spin these out a little bit, and then you can just slide the wings out as long as they don't go back up and plug in. So then you just take this whole backpack off, and we will collapse the wings a little bit just to save a little bit of space. Now this does actually form part of Predaking, and because it's integral to the building of Predaking. We're actually not going to take a look at how this transforms now. We'll get to that in the Predaking video at the end of the week. So we'll just go ahead and set that off to the side for now. And we didn't really need to take that off for transformation to the robot mode, but it can be a little bit easier to work with here, or maybe I just got ahead of myself. So you just kind of unfold the arms and flip out the hands, and you take apart the legs, which kind of do that on their own, and it swings around very much like Rampage did, and like we've seen in many of the other recent figures. And then of course the head opens up, and there's his head, his noggin. And if you took the backpack off too early, you can just slide it in. You can see there's a rail there, which is also how he connects to the combiner mode, and there's another little rail on there, and it just kind of slides up. And boom, there is Divebomb in his robot mode. Alright, so now if we go ahead and bring back his guns, he can hold them just like anybody would normally hold a gun, and you just fit that in the hole there. Now the posts aren't really long enough to go that deep into his hands, with considering how far away they are from the rest of his arm. So they go in there and they stay okay, but it doesn't take a whole lot to pop them out. So, but you can pose him around and knock the gun out of his hand like that. Yeah, so he holds them okay, but I don't think he'd pass the shake test, you know, for those people who like to rattle the toys and see how well the guns are held. Now let's go ahead and compare him now to the G1 reissue in robot mode 2. So quite a bit taller, as you might expect. The similarities here are far more, far better, because in the Eagle mode, you can still see the black leg with the gold stripe, whereas on this one you'd see the orange, but once it flips out you can see they're more similar, where you can see where the leg design came from, including the orange and the red waist. He also has more of a gold hands here on the G1, whereas the Power of the Primes stayed with the red hands, which is perfectly fine, and the wings are the same in both modes. The heads, this guy, the head isn't in the beak so much as it is on the Power of the Primes version, but I still think it works out okay. So there's that comparison. Now let's go ahead and get this guy into the combined mode. Okay, so this is the point where you do want to actually take off the wings and set it aside for when you combine him into the combiner. Now what you actually want to do is almost want to take him back to the bird mode. So we'll fold in the hands, we'll fold up the arms, try to keep it all in camera, and bring the arms back there just as if he was in his Eagle mode. We'll fold his face back up, and we will go ahead and flip in the toes. That's not something we had to do on either mode there, but it works equally well for robot and Eagle mode. We'll collapse the legs back up, and they will tab together, but we don't want to do that just yet. Now what we do want to do is, there is a double hinge here at his waist. We want to go ahead and bring that out, straighten it out, and then take it all the way forward again. Now when I first did this, I forgot and I left it straight up and down, and it doesn't catch when you bring these arms around, and it kind of leaves a little wobble here, and that's not what you're supposed to do. You want to make sure this goes all the way back around, but keep these two pin joints level, but just instead of the one on this side, you move it over to that side. And what that does is you take these two side pieces, once you catch them in the right location, maybe pull on the arms a little bit. I've done this before, I promise. So yeah, so you just kind of got to untab it. It tabs into the back there. You swing it around to the front, And you do it, I got to go back to this side again. There we go, it was tabbed in there pretty secure. And you just swing this around. Now what these are going to do is they're going to tab together in the arms, but they're also going to tab into this waist area. There's a little tab here you can't really see because it's black plastic, doesn't do very well with video. And there's also a slot on each of these two sides. And then it all tabs together nice and secure like, so that there is no wobble at that joint, and you just get the, basically it works out to be a bicep swivel. And you do want to finally bring the head forward a little bit, because that gets it away, because this is your shoulder. And it does come with a nice gigantic fist. Now the way you connect this is, can we get the glare just right? Okay, yeah, so there's kind of a vertical tab and a horizontal tab goes into the vertical slot and a horizontal slot there on the fist. And it's got the matching tabs and slots on the other side. You bring it all together, tab it together, nice and secure like, and he's got a little bit of a grabby hand, you got a little wrist swivel, but we're getting ahead of ourselves again because those are things to talk about in the combined mode. But there you go, that is Divebomb as Predaking's arm. There is another accessory. You can see he's got a little hole right here to connect a gun, but again, we will get there in the Predaking video. Okay, so that's going to do it for our Divebomb video. I appreciate your taking the time to watch. If it's your first time subscribing and you want to finish watching the rest of this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell icon notification, and check out the playlist in the description. I'm Engineer Hoist. Keep rolling, my friends. Thanks for watching.